Hey there guys, and today we're going to be talking about a fairly interesting topic, which is the power versus force. This is pretty much like a concept and a topic that helps me close 68% of my meetings, and yes, that number is extremely high, and you're probably wondering, Reinis, how the fuck do you get this number? Is that even possible? Let me tell you, yes it is. And power versus force has been what allowed me to set the meeting with Bose, to set the meeting with an owner of a $2 billion company. He sold it recently. Also, another company, they're doing about $3.5 billion per year. With them, it's not just me, it's also my partner. And yeah, this is a super important concept you have to understand no matter what kind of sales you do. So let's dive right into it. The thing that probably attracted you is the 68% meeting closure rate. And yes, that sounds insane. But the thing is, let me tell you why most people don't get here, right? Because I know people with an even crazier close rate of like 80%, right? And the thing was, when I first started my own social media marketing agency and my first businesses, I was only working with cold leads, right? Because essentially on all like social media platforms, YouTube, Google, everywhere, people tell you to work with cold leads. Hey, do cold emails, do cold calls, do cold outreach. And well, yes, it does work, right? It's not the best way to go about getting leads. Let me tell you why. When I started myself, right, at first, everybody goes through this. You start out, you don't get any clients, etc., etc. Then you get a mentor of some sort, he helps you out, boom, you have scripts and everything works. However, the problem was, I was able to get meetings, meetings with cold prospects, but I was not able to close them, right? This is a huge problem for me because I was able to get like anywhere from 10 to 20 meetings per week. But the problem was, these were meetings with unqualified people, with people who do not really have the money to pay, who do not have the pain. Those are unqualified prospects who are not your right buyers. And also, even if they do have the money, a lot of times they don't want to work with you because they do not trust you. And then I kind of got it to the point where I understood. Yeah, then I kind of got it to the point where I understood, like, hey, everything isn't just about how, like, basically all the leads, all the meetings you get, they're not equal. Okay, this is fairly common because a meeting from cold calls is going to be very, very different from a meeting from referrals, because the meeting you get from referrals, that's something much warmer, right? You already have trust in place, and the opening is super strong to the sale. And I got down to this. Lately with my latest meetings, I even did a couple of videos on how I was able to close a client for 3.9k, which is a 1,300 euro a client per month, and we signed them for 3 months. So it's actually higher in dollars than I wrote it down, but it doesn't really matter. And the best thing was, I was able to close them in 5 minutes, right? It sounds fucking insane, but the thing was, the story went something like this. I went to BNI, this is Business Network International. For those of you who don't know, it's an event for business owners where you basically sit around the table, you network and help each other get more business. I went to that event, and I remember when I was entering there, I only knew one person. So I was kind of afraid, I was anxious, I did not know kind of what to do. But then I remember I sat down on my table and I saw there was this paper with the list of every single person who was at and in the event. So I decided to take a look, and there I saw the name, the surname, also the niche they're in, and I saw a couple of people and I circled them because I thought, okay, this could be fairly good prospects for me. And one of those prospects, she was a coach, right? She I don't really remember back then what was written down on the paper, but I know she was a coach, and that's one of my perfect clients. And I remember I was about to approach her, but the event kind of started, so it was like a little bit of an awkward situation. Then during the event, there's a time where you have to pitch your product, pitch your service, right? Everybody comes up with these crazy and creative ideas for pitches. And when I was sitting there, I did not have a pitch in my mind, so I had to think of something on the spot. So I remember, I thought to myself, like, yo, Reinis, telling people, like, oh yeah, I do social media marketing for businesses, right? It's nothing exciting. It's pretty fucking boring. So I decided, okay, let me be a doctor. I'm gonna be a person who clones people. And I came up with this pitch like, went something like this. Hello, my name is Reinis, and I am a professional human cloner. Okay, now I know this sounds kind of insane, and it sounds like a huge medical leap. However, it's not what you think. Right now, as I am standing here in front of you, okay, I am also in thousands of people's telephones. And I have achieved this through strategic content creation and distribution online. Because right now, as I'm standing here and speaking to you, I also have funnels built with my videos and content on social media with my videos who are selling to other people. And then I basically gave the call to action and whatnot. This pitch here, it was like kind of shitty because back then I did it in Latvian and I was kind of translating it in my head. But nonetheless, after the pitch was over, we had to go downstairs to eat because after the pitch there's the business breakfast, right? So you guys can network more. And I remember I was entering a different room where I had to fill out an application, and I saw the lady, and I saw she smiled at me, and we just kind of started chatting. Now I did not know who she was. I only had seen her previously on the paper, and then she mentioned Sprout Media. I was like, wait, what? That's the name of my marketing agency, but I hadn't spoken to her about it. And she started talking about that she had seen my case study. The case study was amazing. She liked the results. She liked the content we put out. And I was like, wait, she actually knows me. And what happened next is we went downstairs to eat. And we basically set a meeting 2 weeks down the line. When we got into the meeting, I pretty much closed her within, I think it was 5 to 10 minutes. Something like that. I know down 5 minutes because it seems better here. I closed her within 5 to 10 minutes. And you know, it's fucking incredible. Who doesn't want to get meetings which you can close like this, right? Just basically tell them price. We're like, okay, yes, let's go. Now, this is not the best way to go about meetings. However, I felt and I knew that I could leverage my power and the content I had created to do it in this record time. Now, what this leads to, if you want to get high quality meetings that are not cold, right? High quality meetings that you can close in 5 minutes, less or more, doesn't matter. But the thing here was, I was able to do this because of the quality of the lead. She knew me. That was my personal awareness. Okay? Super duper important. Because of the content I had online, she knew me from that. Now, to close a meeting in 5 minutes, this all leads to 5 to 13 impressions. Now, from what I've seen online, if you want to close a client, especially on higher ticket packages, you have to interact with them 5 to 13 times before reaching out to them and selling to them. This is going to ensure the lead, they go from a cold lead to a warm lead. Now with her, we did it like this, right? I had my chatbot and I had the case study. So on the chatbot, she should have seen me around 5 times. Then the case study is the 6th one. Then I also know she is a friend with one of my clients. So she's probably seen me roughly like 7 times before I even reached out to her, which makes her an extremely warm lead, right? And this is why I was able to close her again in 5 minutes, super duper quickly. And I've seen this trend with a lot of people. A lot of people I've lately closed. They literally tell me, Reinis, like pretty much just tell me the price, let's go. Of course, not all people are like that. And sometimes when I tell them the price and I go through my meetings strategy, they don't not want to do it, right? And I have to convince them, stuff like that, but nothing less. The key you want to understand here is that if you want to get high quality leads, you have to interact them 5 to 13 times before selling, okay? And preferably before even setting the meeting. That's going to ensure that you are leveraging your power and you have a strong opening. Now let's talk about power versus force. This is a super important concept for you to understand if you want to make more sales, and especially if you want to make higher ticket sales with companies like Bose, VC4, etc., whatever the company might be. You have to understand this concept. Now, this concept was created by, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot the author of the book. Basically, Power versus Force is a book, and if you're on the Swim and Leads website, which I hope you are, you can scroll down, and in the blog I even link it under the section Power versus Force. So if you want to check it out, you can go and do that there. But stick on this video right for now, okay? So, power versus force. Let's talk out the differences, okay? Let's start with force, right? Because this is what usually everybody uses, and it's what makes them fail in sales, okay? But, force isn't bad. Hear me out on this. So force essentially, it's just straight to the point, right? You force somebody over to work with you. When you own a meeting, you're super pushy, you're making them work with you, you're not allowing to make that much decisions. And this is actually how I was in sales, right? When I started out. And what are the benefits of working with force? You don't have a lot of upfront work. By this I mean, before the meeting, if you're really working with force, if you're gonna do a cold call or a cold email, you're gonna be forcing them on a meeting with you. So you don't have to do a lot of research prior to speaking to them. Then also on the meeting, you're kind of forcing them on a sale. So there's a lot, again, not a lot of upfront work you've done. So that's one of the benefits. You also have a higher chance to close a cold lead, because there are some people who are kind of like wimpy, and if you're super forceful to them, there's a high chance of you closing them, okay? So then, the cons, right? And these cons are huge. This is why a lot of people fail, and nobody can get this kind of a closing rate, okay? This is the low quality of the leads you get, right? And no long-term ROI. And also you're pushy. So these three cons are killing a lot of people's businesses. Because essentially you are the leads to whom you're reaching out to, you're being super pushy, and those leads are low quality, which essentially means you're not doing enough qualification, you don't know whether you can help them, you don't know whether they can pay you, and a lot of times it's just not a good experience overall. Also, you don't have a long-term ROI. If you're working with force, you're working right now, which means you're gonna need to use a lot of energy. You're gonna need to put a lot of energy today to get the results today. And it's something that it's hard to repeat and hard to scale. Okay, this leads to the last con. It's hard to scale. Now, let's contrast it with power. Essentially, power is when you are giving people value, and rather than forcing them over, you are showing your value and you're making them come to you. Okay, this is why a lot of times I get people to come to me to ask for advice, to make me help them with their business. That is power, right? That is power. You can usually get power with a strong opening, with a lot of content and a lot of personal awareness. When people know you, when they've seen your work. I had a lot of power in this meeting, right? She had seen my case study. She had seen my content before. She also was speaking to my previous clients, and she knows I do a good work. Okay? I had a lot of power. So let's get right into the pros of working off of power. So the biggest pro is people come to you, right? People approach you because they want to work with you, not you're trying to pressure them over. And it's like kind of like a more passive way to get clients, right? A good example for this is Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He got Pepsi because of his personal brand, because of his personal awareness. And that is power. That is power. This is what helps you play with the big dogs, which leads us to the second point. More money. When you're working and leveraging power, you get more money because you're working with high quality individuals and you're seen as an authority figure. That is super important if you want to close better sales. Next one, it's kind of similar to this one. Yeah, you just work with higher quality people. And the next one is all the doors are open to you, right? If something goes to shit, you're still known. Have a lot of doors open, a lot of opportunity there. And even if everything's fine, right? If there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of doors open, you can just pick and choose, right? You have more power, you have more things to leverage to close more and higher ticket deals. This power is what leads you to the 68% close rate. Okay, this power. When you work with power and pair it up with a hardcore opening. Now I know this starts to look like a mess, but stick with me here. Now the cons of working with power. A lot of times if you're just starting out to leverage and create your power, it's low ROI short term. Because right now I need to create content and I'm going to need to edit this. I need to write this. And it's a lot of work put into these pieces of content. However, I do know that in the long term, I'm going to get people to come to me because they've seen this content and they want to learn the strategy more. Right? It's just long-term thinking. right? It's upside downside. It's immediate downside, but a lot of upside right away. So then, next one, upfront work. So if you want to create and leverage power, you do need to do a lot of upfront work. Again, these videos, creating videos, writing articles, a lot of that is upfront work. It's work that doesn't get you results immediately, but it's long term. So you have to think it this way. This is long term. Now, when I tell you this, I'm not shitting on force and telling force is bad, you should not be using it and only use power. Not at all. Because when you start your business, you do want to leverage force more than power. Okay? Because you don't have, if you just started your business, you don't have anything to leverage. You don't have anything to build your power upon. So you have to force people to come over and work with you. You deliver them fucking amazing results. And then you use that to create power. Okay? Then you leverage that to create power. Because the largest problem is when businesses, they already have like 1 to 2 clients, and instead of switching over to the long-term game to leveraging using power, which in the long term is actually going to be a much easier, much more scalable way of attracting clients, they still are stuck in the ways of force, right? So force is for starting up. Power is when you want to scale and get more clients, especially later down the line. Now, this leads us to the next point, which is the opening. Essentially, the opening is, basically, I like to say this. If you guys want to close more meetings, stop focusing on closing, start focusing on the opening. The opening is essentially something similar to your first impression, right? There are 3 types of opening, 3 stages of opening. Number 1, how did they get to know you, right? Was it from a cold call or was it from a referral? Was it from you being aggressive, making them go on the meeting with you? Or was it because they saw your content and they saw you as a man of value, right? This is the opening. The first part is how you reach out to them, okay? The second part is the research. This is the research what you do about them. And within, let's say, for example, if you create a video audit, when you send that video audit to them, if you are talking about some relevant things they have in their company, that heightens the quality of the opening, because it makes them see that you care. It makes them see that you do your research and they fucking appreciate that, which also increases the power of your opening. Then the third part is how you open a sale, right? Are you a fucking cunt or are you a nice guy, right? Are you a likable person? Because if you do these three things right, even if they don't have the money, they're gonna make sure they get the money to work with you. I literally had one mentoring student who didn't have the money to pay me $1,000 for mentoring. But I know he had seen my content, he had seen my results, which I had presented to him prior, and he had watched my case studies. And he wanted to work with me because I had built up my power and the opening was super strong. When I first spoke with him, I gave him incredible advice on how can he grow his business, how can he improve his mindset and his sales. That's me playing the long-term game. Then the opening was strong, and he was literally he quit his job a week before we started talking, and he didn't have the funds to pay for the mentoring. Then what he did after our call, he literally got and applied a job for Uber Eats. He was fucking slaving his ass off to save up money for the mentoring, right? You can do that when you have the power and a strong ass fucking opening. This is what gets people coming to you. This is what gets you to 68% close rate, right? It's when you have the power to leverage and when you have a fucking strong opening. And yeah, at this point, you're not even fucking working with cold leads. Every lead you get is warm. And there's also, if you implement the strategy correctly, but I recommend you reading a blog post because I put a nicer structure together there. If you implement all of this correctly, you're going to be able to turn a cold lead into a warm lead who wants to buy from you. And when they apply for a meeting with you, you're going to be fucking closing them. So hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you haven't checked out swimandleads.com yet, please go ahead and do so. A lot of fucking value there, a lot of resources there. So yeah guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Peace.